Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has served notice of embarking on a massive revenue collection and disconnection exercise, as the state power distributor has served notice defaulters, big or small, will not be spared. Over 31 institutions, including Parliament, the Communications Ministry, and also the University of Ghana and the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) office, have until Monday to settle their indebtedness to ECG or face disconnection. These institutions collectively owe ECG over 70 million cedis, and despite several reminders, ECG says they have failed to settle their debt. Here's a full list for you of some of the institutions owing the Electricity Company of Ghana various amounts of money there. Ministry of Communication owing over 5 million cedis there. You also have some other institutions, UNDP 558,000, and then the Internal Audit Agency is also following through, and the list goes on and on, with the National Information Technology Agency also owing a little over 1 million Ghana cedis. The University of Professional Studies Accra is included in that list as well, 1,611,403.21 Ghana cedis is where they are lying. So what's the implication for the effectiveness of the Electricity Company of Ghana? A number of reforms have taken place, but there's a need for us to also expand the conversation. Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme itself, UNDP, has been commenting on this issue, issuing a statement earlier today and indicating that the attention of the United Nations Development Programme in Ghana has been drawn to the media publication and discussion on the list of debtors to the Electricity Company of Ghana. As the UN agency leading on development and supporting Ghana's development agenda, UNDP appreciate the government's continued contributions to its operations as the host of the UN system in Ghana. UNDP wishes to seize the opportunity to affirm its commitment to supporting the government and the people of Ghana to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals here in Ghana. So that's the indication we're getting from the reaction we're getting from the UNDP. But let's look at the issue of ECG indebtedness and how to improve efficiency. Joining me now on phone is Edward Bauer, Member of Parliament for Bongo, and also a member of the Energy, Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament. On Zoom as well, I have two experts joining us, Dr. ECG70m, Energy Specialist, and Peter Tekbe, who's a policy analyst as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Let me start off with you, Edward Bauer. So, as a committee in Parliament, once your attention has been drawn to this, the fact that even Parliament itself owes ECG, what measures will you be taking to redress the situation?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. Look, let me start first by congratulating ECG. I think that this is long overdue. Indeed, if you look at the challenges in the power sector, you see the power sector has three functional zones. We have the distribution, we have the transmission, and we have the generation. The distribution end is the one that interfaces with consumers. And so when that does not perform, that particular functional zone does not perform well, it affects transmission, it affects generation, because their generators will generate the power, give it to transmitters to transmit, and then they will distribute. So if they are unable to collect the money, it means that they are not able to pay the people on the higher on the value chain. So basically, in my opinion, I want to congratulate them for that. My brother, let me now state very clearly to you that if you go and look at the Energy Sector Recovery Program document that was authored by the Ministry of Energy in 2019, they state very clearly that the indebtedness to ECG on annual basis is $180 million. Out of this, $150 million is normally occasioned because of the default from MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. So government agencies, government departments, government ministries are the worst culprits when it comes to default. Out of this total amount of money that is owed ECG as a result of people using power and not paying for it. So to have a situation where ECG is now going out and calling people by their names and then making sure that they disconnect them if they don't pay, I think is the right. Because look,
but could it not be the case that a lot of water has gone under the bridge?
It's not a question of a lot of what I've gone and you have been offered a service. It is only fair that you pay for it. For example, if you go to GHs70m, you say multimedia. If you do not pay for your power, they will disconnect you. It's as simple as that. So why would, for example, University of
Professional Studies, yes,
not pay for using power? Why would Ministry of Communication not do that? And I'll give an example. I remember when we were in the ministry, because of the fact that we felt that, look, because of the default in most government agencies, Ministry of Energy, as a sign of example setting, decided to put the Ministry of Energy on prepaid. So as we speak today, Ministry of Energy is on prepaid. So when they go and buy power and the power is exhausted, they go off. They have to go and buy power again. And I don't know why government agencies, and I've always stated it, and this is the point, all government agencies must be put on prepaid except critical areas. I understand, for example, if you were to go to the hospital, I expect that, yes, maybe the theaters and other things should not be on prepaid, but they should be on credit meters. However, what explanation would you give me for a doctor's flat being on a credit meter? Why would it be so? And so, for me, I think that what the ECG is doing is very, and I'll be very happy if tomorrow they disconnect Parliament.
All right then. Let's see what then happens in the coming days. I'm grateful, Edward Barr, for your time. Let me take your thoughts, Dr. ECG70m, and I'll come to you, Peter Tekpe, as well. So starting off with you, Doc, what's the way forward, particularly when we know that this amount of money are very critical to the efficient running and management of the Electricity Company of Ghana?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to you, and good evening to our cherished viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yes, indeed, I've just alluded to what my good friend just mentioned, so I don't want to rehash what he said.
All right.
You know, if you look at the chain of this part of a complex chain, we have three segments, like you mentioned. We have the transmission, distribution, and then the generation. Generation has been excellent. Transmission, we are not doing bad, but distribution has been the bane of all these things. You know, and these three units are so seamlessly linked that if one chain of it is not functioning efficiently, it's going to lead to negative impact on the other chain. So going forward, I think the main thing is the losses. The losses within ECG is simply phenomenal. You can imagine an institution where they can, the generators to give power, the transmission, power will be transmitted to ECG, and about 20 to 30% of it cannot be accounted for. That's phenomenal and gross inefficiency, and that has been looked at.
Okay, because we don't have because we don't have all of the time, Dr. Yusuf, for you laid out for us in very clear points, what should be the priority now, and how do we deal with the issue going forward?
The priority now is to probably look at privatizing ECG. Not complete privatization. I think that's the way to go. The main thing is efficiency. See, government of Ghana is still linked to, SOEs are still linked to ECG. So it's very difficult for ECG to buy at this moment. So, but if you privatize it in a way, I think to inject a bit of efficiency. But very quickly, in privatizing it, you remember what happened in PDS. We just have to make sure that we don't repeat that. And how can we do that? We make sure that we get private partners who are coming to be what we call, helpful to the system. They shouldn't come and be parasitic to this, to the already weak system. So if you get a private partner who is going to be like a symbiotic relationship, where the government of Ghana will benefit and then the private sector partner will benefit, I think that's the way to go. So I think I'll make a call that we need to privatize ECG. Let's inject efficiency into ECG. And how can we inject efficiency? Let's open out the chain. We can't leave a single source distribution for ECG, that is a source of inefficiency. But if you get other possible distributors in a way, I think that helps. So let's bring in private sector participation. I think that's the bane of ECG. If you do that, we're going to inject a bit of efficiency into ECG.
All right then. Dr. ECG70m, I'm grateful. Peter Tekpe, going forward for you, do you believe that it's time for the Electricity Company of Ghana spending time going after monies that are, some say are already lost? We will not be able to retrieve it.
Thank you very much. The reality is that this is not the first time that this issue is coming up, and it's been with us a very long time. These debt that you are seeing there are not debt that were owed over a month or two, but over years. And as a result, we need to ask ourselves, why are we where we are now? It's because if you look at those institutions, they are not commercial institutions that are making profit. At the end of the day, is indirectly government still owing itself, because government has taken ECG, government has taken these institutions. And so if these institutions don't receive their submissions, they cannot be able to pay. Don't forget that if these institutions need to be paying themselves, they don't generate income or profit that they can use to pay themselves. That is why, to be able to manage this very well, the budget that is allocated to these institutions, there need to be a cautious effort to allocate a portion specifically to be able to be clearing this debt. Then in that case, we can always say that, okay, whenever this institution is given this budget, 10% of the budget or 1% of the budget is going to be paid. Then at all times, payment is going to be made. The reason is that ECG will go and disconnect. Tomorrow they will call them to go and reconnect. Why? Because those institutions need to run. You can't imagine what will happen if they go and disconnect Parliament. It can't work. They will tell them to reconnect. So what do? Look at the budget of Parliament. Then you say, look, make sure you allocate this amount to payment of the electricity bill. If you want to go by the prepaid meters, of course, that is the best solution. So we need the political will to be able to do that.
Okay.
But since over the years, this could not be achieved, then we need to now have a deliberate policy whereby portion of their subventions will be allocated to be paying this bill. Then that will reduce the debt, if not increasing it to the level we are seeing now.
I'm grateful, gentlemen, that you're able to share your thoughts with us here on Joy News Prime. Peter Tekpe, the policy analyst, and also Dr. GHs70m, an energy expert. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. We'll return after this break.